Blessings. So many first-level Christians try to get miracles and breakthroughs either through fasting, tithing, either through sowing of seeds, either through hanging to their family, generational church setting, either through sticking to some particular man of God. All this might not bring solutions to your problems. They might not bring solutions to you. Most often, it doesn't work. You only end up burning your spiritual Christian life down. And your life goes extremely slow. But today, I am going to share with you 5 steps. It's a strategy that I implemented in my life to get over 10 miracles and breakthroughs every day. Are you ready? God bless you, people of God. My name is Evangelist Dr. Margaret. I'm a Christian faith-based coach. I help Christians like you, I help Christian entrepreneurs like you to build their businesses, to build their Christian lives, and to take control over their lives and become the head and the lender that God says they are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 13. In order for you to understand my strategy and what I'm going to share with you, we're going to take a look in my present Christian life, the state I am now. I started getting 10 and more miracles after receiving the Holy Spirit. I'm sure I've told you this 1,000 times. It is the truth, that's why I'm telling you. I only started getting miracles and breakthroughs in my life after I received the Holy Spirit. After this, everything just took off, and it has only been increasing. It is rare, right? It is kind of rare. I knew it was going to be very difficult to arrive at that point of getting 10 and more miracles and breakthrough, miracles overflowing in my life. And because of that, because I knew it was going to be really tough, I could not just sit and fold my arms and wait on God to do it for me, as most Christians usually think. I understand the word patience and the word time factor in Christian life. I understand how pastors will always tell you, men of God will always tell you, sister, brother, wait on God, be patient, God is planning something for you, God is planning a big table for you and all that. I understand that. So, I decided to do something instead of just sitting and folding my arms while waiting on God. I decided to do something, to take action. You have to work. You cannot just sit and wait on God. You have your own portion of the work to do. You have to do something. God will never fall from heaven in front of you. This is me. And give you miracles and gives you breakthrough. God will never meet with a lazy Christian. Never. Unfortunately, most Christians nowadays are very lazy. And that's where the problem is coming from. Big problem. I am going to be completely honest with you. The steps I'm going to share with you now, the steps to get miracles and breakthrough in your life on a daily basis. Fast. These steps could be really simple and easy, to comprehend. But it does not mean it's going to be easy. It is going to require a lot of work. But if you do it right, I guarantee you will be able to get those miracles and those breakthroughs rolling in your life in the very first month. So the first thing I did to activate miracles and breakthroughs in my life very fast was to start visiting different churches, searching for answers to my numerous questions, searching for a man of God or a church that will tell me something different from what I already knew, something different from what I have heard all my life ever since I was a Christian. I became a Christian. So, some of my questions I'll share with you. Some of my questions were, what is this Christianity thing all about? Is it just about getting up on Sunday mornings and go to church? There must be something more to this Christianity thing. Is it just about listening to the pastor preach? Is it just about paying tithes? Is it just about giving offerings? Is it just sowing seed? What is this thing all about? Because I've been a Christian for so long and I'm not getting anything. I don't understand what is this whole thing all about. So I had it in my spirit that there was more to it in Christianity than just attending church and doing those normal rituals like paying of tithes and all that. Although no man of God had ever told me something different from what I knew, from what I saw other Christians doing. But the Spirit of the living God in me kept on telling me that there is more to it than just church attendance. Just dip your hands deeper. Try to find out. You will have the answers. I'm ready to tell you. So, I had all these unanswered questions hanging and hitting me day and night. But first, before I started going around to search for answers to all my numerous questions, I took a piece of paper and I wrote it down. I wrote my questions down, step after step, and I pasted it on the wall somewhere where I'll be able to see it on a daily basis. And as I get out of bed, I'll be able to see it first thing. That's what I did. And this is the first step. Step number one. That's what I've just told you. Take a piece of paper, write down what you are struggling with, what you want to know. What is happening? What is the problem you are going through? And you just have to write it down. When you write it down, it will help you to remind yourself constantly, what is it that you're searching for? What is it that you want? When you do this, your Christian life will start rolling. That is the first point. That is the very first point. Now, you will search for the question you ask yourself: who am I as a Christian? And secondly, I am a Christian for who? For who am I? Am I a Christian? You have to understand these two things correctly. If you don't understand it and get it correctly, you might go extreme, you might go wrong. You don't just have to go about and say, okay, I'm going to visit this church and that church. Or for example, you say, I'm going to be visiting Pentecostal churches. If you write that, you'll go completely wrong. You might not get anything out of it, because You're not specific. You have to be very specific. You're going to be visiting Pentecostal churches, right? What type of Pentecostal churches? You have to make a specific, be more specific, narrow it down. Whether it's going to be Christian Pentecostal or what, you just have to make a proper plan. Decide which pastors you would want to visit as well. You have to make a plan. You have to know what exactly you want. I will show you step by step how to set up your Christian spiritual planning in my next video, which will be titled 5 Free Ways to Promote Your Christian Life to Guarantee Breakthroughs and Miracles. So watch out for that video. It's coming on very soon. So the basis of this is that you should first understand what is it that you are struggling with as a Christian in your Christian life, in your Christian business. You have to understand what you're struggling with. And secondly, you have to understand what other Christians are struggling with. And the most important, you should understand what other Christians want. You don't only look at what you want at this stage of takeoff. You also have to understand what other Christians, what are they struggling with and what they want. What is their goal? You have to understand these things. I remember when I started my Christian spiritual life, I wasn't serious about these steps. I did not even know I should take these steps into consideration. Maybe, probably because no pastor or man of God ever told me about it. I didn't know at all. I didn't know I needed to make a plan for my Christian life. I didn't know I had to create a personal relationship with God. And I didn't know, for me to do that, I have to first receive Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. And secondly, I have to receive the Holy Spirit. I didn't know all this. But now, I'm looking at these steps and I see how crucial they are in the foundation of your Christian spiritual life or journey or business. Very crucial. If you just take your time to implement these steps correctly, you will contact me and you will thank me. So, once I did the first step, as I told you, which was to figure out what you want, what church you want to visit, what pastor you want to listen to, you write it on a piece of paper. Move straight to the second step, which is associating with other Christians of the same spiritual level or higher. Do not associate with people whose spiritual lives are far below yours. It's easy to tell. The Spirit of God in you will lead you, and you can see with your eyes. So, as I visited different churches, implementing what I learned from them, which is magnifying. I was magnifying as I visit these churches by, number one, taking information from preachings. As a pastor preaches, I don't just sit there and say, Amen, hallelujah. No, I take down notes. I write things that are important and pressing to me as a pastor preaches. As I attend seminars, I make sure I go with my pen and my paper, my book. Not a piece of paper, a book, an exercise book to write. Or you can do it on your cell phone. As you attend every Christian-oriented matter, you have to write things down. You have to take notes. I watch edifying videos like this one, edifying talks where people are teaching me how to go about making a plan for my Christian life. Everything in life requires a plan. The unfortunate thing is Christians do not understand that they have to make a plan for their Christian life as well. They make plan for every other thing except their Christian life. It's very important. You read edifying materials, edifying pamphlets, you read your Bible regularly, you meditate on the Word. You visit Facebook, you visit YouTube, not to post photos, but to learn, to find out what is happening in the Christian realm, what preaching and what things are happening there. That's what you do. You feed yourself with Christian-oriented stuff. While taking down notes, you pray regularly. That's how I did to grow my personal, for my personal development as a Christian. Those are the things I did. And I'm advising you, those are the things you ought to do. As a Christian, it's not that to go to church on Sunday morning, come back home and wait for the next Sunday to go to church. It would never work like that. I'll give you an example. If you have two children, they attend same school. After school, one child comes back home and studies the material that the teacher has taught them in class, goes further to read their textbook, goes further to do researches online, or read other materials that are related to the subject matter. During exams period, that child is going to pass very well. Whereas the other child who comes home, keep their textbook, keep their notebook, and doesn't study nothing, and only wait for the next day to go attend lectures, that child is not going to pass. The other one who studies hard after lectures, after classes, that one is going to pass. It's the same thing. You have to understand this. So, as I did all these things regularly, working on my personal spiritual Christian growth, I noticed those topics that are trending under Christianity. Just as I told you, if you're going to Facebook, YouTube, and places, don't go there just for going sake, or to go and post photos, or going to make comments. Go there with a purpose, and the purpose should be to understand what is happening in the Christian world. It's very important. So, the third step is to listen to proven sermons and topics. Very important. So, I take the topic that are gaining grounds in Christian world. Those topics that stirred something in me as I listened to them. I put them together. I studied them daily. I meditate on them daily. I speak them out and loud to myself as if I'm preaching to my own self. I do that daily. I practice speaking in tongues. You have to practice. You have to do so. I practice singing praise songs. I practice singing worship songs. I practice spending time with God. That is, all these things I'm listing, that's what is called mad devising. You can see that I was not only visiting churches for visiting sake, as I said earlier. I was searching for something. I was searching for answers. I had specific reasons why I was visiting these churches. Take this information seriously and apply it in your life. Apply it in your business. If you want to get your miracles and breakthroughs fast, visit churches with a plan. Visit churches with a plan. Know why you are visiting those churches. Take down notes. Then, when you get to your home, implement the information you have gathered in your life, in your business. That's how it works. So this information is going to save you time. It's going to save you energy. It's going to save you money. This information I'm giving you now. You will build your Christian spiritual life fast and with less effort. If you are a Christian who needs a breakthrough, who needs a miracle, then this video is for you. As you visit other churches, you choose the ones you choose to visit. Make sure you add value to those churches. Do not just visit them to take notes and no. Try to add value. You can clean the church. You can clean the church toilet. You can arrange things around the church. You can sing in the church choir. You can help with the children's school section. Just make sure you add value. If you can make a donation or sow a seed, you do that. Make sure you support financially if you can. Do it. Just create a positive impact. Just make sure you add value wherever you are. Your presence must be felt. Do not be passive. It's very important. And I'm sure you're saying to yourself now that, all these steps you've just told us, they're so great, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to implement all the steps in my life, in my business. Remember, it is not by your might, neither it is by your power. God does it all for you. You just have to put in effort and willingness. As you put in effort and you put in willingness, God will do the rest for you. At this point, I invite you, if you're still to receive Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, this is your time to do so. Receiving Jesus in your life is opening the door of your heart to let Him in. If you're ready to do so, repeat this prayer of salvation after me, saying, "Thank you, Lord. Please come to my heart. I know you are the Son of God. I know you died and God raised you from dead. I know you are alive today. Please come to my heart. For I know with you and in your name I have eternal life. I confess with my mouth this day that you are the Lord of my life from this day on. Thank you, Lord, for saving me. Glory be to God in the highest. You have cast a celebration in heaven. The heavenly hosts are rejoicing, receiving you as a member to the family of God. And at this point, I invite you to move to the next level, which is receiving the Holy Spirit. Receiving the Holy Spirit is receiving the active power of God in your life. Are you ready to receive the Holy Spirit? Place your right hand on your forehead, like this. Now I lead you to receiving the Holy Spirit. Receive the Holy Spirit in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth.